You're ready to start writing pillar posts, those long-form, comprehensive, authoritative pages that will bring you more organic search traffic. Well, I have some good news for you if you've been blogging for a while, and that is that there's a good chance you can use a lot of your old content to make those new pillar pages. You don't necessarily need to start from scratch. But here's the trick. A lot of companies, when they think, hey, let's repurpose our old content to make these new pillar pages, they do it in the wrong way. They start with looking at what they have and then trying to mash it together into a pillar page. But that's not the best way to do it. I'm going to show you the method that's worked for me and worked for my clients and will work for you as well. The trick is, instead of starting with your old content, do the research that you would normally do if you wanted to rank for a search term from scratch. So you're still going to be starting with an outline, you're still going to make a brief for yourself, but you're just going to be filling it in with some existing content. I'll show you what I mean. So once you determine that there's a topic that you want to rank for, once you figure out we need a pillar page for this, then you're still going to want to look at the search intent surrounding the queries that go with that topic. So you're still going to want to Google your search term, you're going to want to see what ranks for it, you're going to want to find related search terms and really get into the mind of the searcher. Find out what sort of sub-questions and sub-sub-questions they might have that you're going to need to address in this pillar page. That's going to include looking at your topic scope, so you're probably not going to need a pillar page that's 50,000 words long covering every single nuance of a certain topic, but you should have an idea of how much you should cover and then what other topics could make for other pillar pages that are related to that. So you'll want to get a good idea of your topic scope, and of course you want to size up your competition. These are the pages that you're trying to outrank in the search engines. So you want to know what's already ranking, what has Google already deemed a worthy answer for people that are Googling these terms so that you can beat them. Because you want to make something a lot better than what's out there, because that's how you rank, or at least that's how it should work. So the trick is start with that outline as though you were making this from scratch, and then go through your old content to find the pieces that could fit into that outline. Now, finding redundant content can be pretty difficult. A lot of people will know off the top of their heads a few key posts that are related to a topic, but if you really want a good picture of how much content you have on a certain topic, then you're going to want to go searching through your blog. Now, you could start with a simple archive of your categories and tags and maybe doing a site search. So that'll give you a little bit of a start. I like to see a little bit more than that because oftentimes articles get miscategorized or mistagged over a long period of time with multiple different blog editors. You might have certain blog posts that should be grouped around certain tags that just don't get because some of the tagging or categorization strategy has changed. So that can be a good place to start, but I prefer to Google the keyword plus site : my domain to see, what does Google consider related to this topic. And then also tools like Ahrefs Content Explorer are really helpful. What Ahrefs does is it allows you to specify your domain and then plug in a topic, and Ahrefs will find pages on your site that are about that topic. What you're going to do is you're going to come out of that with a list of blog posts that could be used potentially in this pillar. They're all related to the topic. And so what you want to do is find the posts that have content in them that you can pull into that new pillar page. And that's probably the simplest step in this process. If you have the outline and certain redundant posts already address elements of that outline, then go ahead and plug those in. You might need to make a few small edits, but you'll have some of that pillar post already written for you. And that's really great. Now, after that, you're going to need to write some original content, fill that in. You'll probably want a new intro. You'll want to stitch the pieces of content together. It's going to need some updating, and it's probably going to take a lot of original content on top of that, unless you just happen to write everything that you needed in your outline ahead of time. Unlikely, but hey, you might get lucky. Once you have that page, then you're going to want to clean up and publish that content. And this is the next tricky part. So you've already found the redundant content, you've already plugged it in to that new pillar page. Now what do you do with the leftovers? Because you're not going to be pulling in an entire post into this new pillar page. So what do you do with what's left over? Well, I recommend doing 301 redirects for blog posts that are no longer relevant. You've pulled the good stuff out of them, and now there's really no reason for anyone to go to that old URL. So just 301 redirect the leftovers to the new pillar page. That way you pass all that link equity that any of those pieces of redundant content gathered over the years onto that new pillar page. So that's a win for you. You're pulling all the links that these may have gathered into one place. That's really good. Consolidates it. It shows Google that instead of having 20 different articles on a certain topic that are all kind of linking to each other, that instead you have one definitive page. And Google knows, this is the page on this site that's about this topic. It's a win for you. You will want to double check that new pillar page to see whether or not you are linking to some of those leftovers that you redirect. That's something that can fall through the cracks. You know, if you're copy pasting in from an old piece of content into a new one, then you might have some content that references content that you're trying to get rid of. So before you publish, double check on that, because you don't want to be linking to a page that you're redirecting, because that's going to give people the experience of clicking on a link within the pillar page that takes them to the old URL, which redirects them back to that pillar page. Really confusing experience and not a fun one. And then you're going to want to go through and build internal links in your own site to that new pillar page. So find the pieces of content that maybe they didn't need to get pulled into the pillar but are still kind of related to this topic, and go ahead and link those pages together. Find opportunities to build links to that new pillar page and also link that pillar page to related pieces of content. And just like that, you have taken a bunch of old blog posts that weren't really getting you a bunch of traffic on your blog and set yourself up with a shiny new authoritative pillar page that's going to get more links, it's going to get more traffic, and it signals to Google this is the spot on your site that is about that topic. That is a really simple way of taking all that old content and building something that'll be a long-term SEO asset for you and for your business. I'm Jeffrey with Overthink Group, and I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit subscribe. That way we can notify you as soon as the next one goes live.